Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Actions to Wealth UK with me, Ash Bull. I am taking you through this week's market preview. Looks to me like we might get another strong performance from the Euro and the Swissy specifically. Let's have a quick look at Forex Factory and see what we have. I can get back to the start here. I'll go back to Monday. It could be a tricky trade, but certainly the indicators and the technicals suggest a strong euro this week, which we'll come to in a second. But let's see what we've got in the way of fundamentals that could actually move the euro this week. We start on Monday, so early doors, Monday evening. So we might be looking into Tuesday to actually take trades in the euro. Let this particular speech pass. ECB President Mario Draghi speaking. He has got the ability to significantly move the currency in one direction or the other. So probably be worth waiting for that particular speech to happen. Be good to know what that speech actually was regarding, and it looks to me like remarks from the European Central Bank Forum and Central Bank in Portugal. That may or may not have the momentum needed to actually carry the euro in one direction. Plus the fact that we have got more speaking from Mario Draghi on Tuesday, so possibly there might be a few market participants waiting for this particular release instead. Again, same thing. So he seems to have a lot to say this week. The Bank of England Governor Mark Carney is also speaking on the pound. The pound's quite interesting in as much that it is looking to be possibly bought up against some of these currency, but not so much against the euro, interestingly. But it might be one to avoid. It might be better to look for slightly weaker currencies against the euro this week. Also have Fed Chair Janet Yellen speaking. That might be a trade for euro dollar we could look at, and pound dollar possibly. Again, Mario Draghi is speaking on Wednesday, which also could put the brakes on until we get this final day of speaking. So could put the brakes on the actual trades. Bank of England Carney is also speaking, and looks like he's speaking from the same place as well. So it looks like it is a meeting in Portugal that the central bankers will be speaking at. All of them will have the ability to move their specific currency. Finally, Thursday, we start to finish those talks and get final GDP quarter on quarter, which will potentially be a market mover from the States, unemployment claims from the States. And on Friday, current account could possibly move the market, depending on what sort of number it is. GDP month over month will likely move the CAD on Friday, and that is it wrapped up for the week. So let's have a look at some of these technicals and see what we're seeing with the euro. I'll be looking at this Aussie Kiwi because we were discussing it in the coaching session, and I suggested some upside with the Aussie Kiwi, which I do still think will happen, some short-term upside, but then continuing to the downside ultimately. Not a trade that I'd really like to take because the charts don't really they're not in agreement with each other when we look at time frames. Let's start with the euro pound. Euro pound starting out as late as the week. These bars are suggesting that there's indecision. This bar suggests bearish indecision, if anything. This bar is suggesting bullish indecision. So not an easy one to try and get on top of. We are at a level of potential resistance here as well. We have lines in the sand right across here. So that may well push the euro to the downside. When we look at the daily chart, it does give a slightly different picture. That looks fairly certain. We've got an inverted head and shoulders style pattern starting to form here. Certainly a bar that many people will be interested in buying off. The question will be how far is that likely to go with those weekly price action charts looking more like indecisive price action than anything else. And it's also going to be down to what each speaker says, Carney and Mario Draghi, over the coming week. But I would suspect Monday, before that speech, we will probably get a push to the upside. We need to take this area out to continue. We need to take this area out to continue. So both those two areas are going to be somewhere in the region of, if that's the next day, we're looking at somewhere in the region of 0 spot 88 3. Let's call it 300 for ease to round it up a little bit, and this one looks like 0 spot 88. Let's call it 800 to round that one up a little bit. But it's going to have to significantly break through those levels. You'd want to draw these lines on your own charts. May not be the best currency pair to trade, however. When we look at the euro versus the yen, this is starting to look really interesting. Last week's bar was positive. The previous week's bar was looking pretty positive. This could be waiting for a fairly explosive move now to the upside, because it appears that we are through the areas of resistance that we needed to clear. That was the first point of call, which we're well and truly through that. There's also a trend line just along here as well, which when we mine into the daily chart, we see that that particular line is touched. That failed, but we just closed above that, so that particular line fairly significantly as well. When we start to look at the body of the bar, the majority of the body of that bar is through. So that suggests upside on the daily on the euro yen, and it certainly suggests an upside on the weekly. So we'll be looking for setups now with this one, and even though it looks like we missed the first time around with a break and a test of that one there. That one there didn't quite come back to test it fully, but we certainly got a break and somewhat of a test of into this particular bar, and we're at that similar position, and this is starting to look like it could be an area that may well hold. Let's have a look at that on the hourly and see if that looks like a bull flag. And it does look like a bull flag. It's a pretty scruffy one, and not something that I'd be that comfortable trading as a pattern. But I do quite like the fact that the weekly and the daily are certainly looking like positive options now. So this bull flag measured move on that would be taking us up into, let's see what we got, this area up here. And let's see where that area coincides on a longer term time frame. 4 hourly, it kind of tips beneath that particular level. Let's have a look on the daily, see what's a bit more significant. Yeah, looking to get back near these highs up here. So I would suspect bullish price action on the euro yen. I looked at the euro Swissy earlier on as well, and it actually looks like the euro could be a little bit weaker against the Swissy. So that would suggest that the Swissy yen is also a decent trade to the upside. This one looks like it is also through, and it's through significantly. So I would suspect again, coming out on Monday, we get some pretty positive looking price action on this one too. So not quite as convincing in as much that the percentage of the bar hasn't closed quite as high as the euro. But when we slide this area down a little bit and get tighter to these areas here, these highs before, then that would leave us at least 50% above. That is a really good looking bar for some upside. So Swissy yen breaking out looks to me like just waiting for a decent enough retracement. Can't probably wait too long for that retracement, or too deep, I should say, for that retracement. It actually looks like we've already tested the level once already. So a break of this particular price could well see this particular currency pair push to the upside along with the euro yen. And I'd probably use the euro yen as a bit of a barometer as well. If I see the euro yen strengthen, every likelihood that I look at this Swissy yen to also strengthen. I would suspect either one of them would be absolutely fine to take that trade on. And if I was looking for anything to the downside, I wouldn't want to see it below this level, but if it came and touched that particular level down there, that would be even more attractive. Just a really good price. Might be that it floats around this area and we get that price later on in the week. There's no doubt some pivots and fibs that we could also pull up, but the ultimate aim for this particular preview is just to discuss about what I believe should be bullish or bearish for the week, and which ones would be my favoured. And I'd say the euro yen, Swissy yen come pretty high in the list. And if I'm looking at this CAD yen as well, as a potential barometer. We have seen the CAD also take out some significant levels of resistance here, so we can start to see the picture building against a little bit of yen strength. So it looks to me like the yen might now start getting on the back foot again. Let's just have a quick look at the dollar yen. Not yet checked this actually. Just before I come off this, we can also see inverted head and shoulders here. Left shoulder, head coming down, right shoulder, really looking very positive. This would be a great area to try and pick this one up with that kind of accumulation pattern happening down here. That suggests some significant upside, at least to try and get back to this neckline. And if it was to get through, then if there was any chance that we could pick it up down here, means that we've got it out on that right shoulder. So any fluctuations back to the downside wouldn't be such a problem. But if it just went straight up to that level and just took it straight out, we would have got a great price. So it's every chance that I would trade that one as well. So CAD yen looks good, Euro yen looks good, Swissy yen looks good. We'll quickly check the dollar yen just for a little bit more confidence on our barometer. This is also looking pretty positive. It's not broken out, but I can also see an inverted head and shoulders here. That looks to me like a right shoulder. Not so convincing, as the right shoulder is a dip beneath the left shoulder, but using that as a barometer just to indicate some further yen weakness looks fairly decent to me. I don't particularly like these patterns when they just come back and they go to the downside, but they float along these areas of support here. And it's not a trade that I'd want to take. But as I say, just using that as a barometer to indicate some yen weakness, I think is of use. So that is what I will be looking at specifically. If there's any thoughts on any of these charts, or if you have any others, then feel free to Facebook me at Ash Trading from the Actions to Wealth Hub, and any questions or any other analysis you have, we can certainly broach either in the show as we come back from Tuesday to Thursday next week, or I can send you some other messages. I'm quite happy to do that. Or you can also join us for some strategy leading coaching, and you can contact James to get some details on that. So have a great week. Be patient, be profitable, be vigilant, and I'm sure you will do okay.